I will now call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Texas Southmost College District. Trustees present, Mr. J.J. De Leon, Ms. Alejandra Aldrete, Mr. Ruben Herrera, Ms. Eva Alejandro, and myself. Also present is Dr. Jesus Roberto Rodriguez, our president. Absent is Dr. Zabaleta, which is not feeling well, and Ms. Delia Saenz, which is out of town. And I'm going to ask Ms. Aldrete to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one nation, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Ms. Aldrete. Public comment, I see Mr. Eugene Fernandez.
Please forgive my appearance. I'm not in field camp. I'm just coming from a park project that we were doing out in Southmost in the nature preserve. I don't normally dress this way unless when I'm working. I'm a historian, professional historian. I'm director of a 501c3 foundation that does historical research. I've been involved in the region's history for over 40 years. There's only one person that has it up on me, and that's the fine gentleman that's not here right now, Dr. Tony. I think he beats me by 10 years. The subject matter that I come to speak on is a word of praise. We've been involved, I say we, myself and the college here, on several historical matters. Of late, there was a situation that existed in the mural that was at Fort Brown. In the historical community, we were quite concerned because we've lived with that for the entirety of our lives, not to mention the dear fondness that we have for it. I met with members of the board and Dr. Rodriguez on this in order to understand, to assess what the situation was. I came out of that meeting so pleased. The decision-making that was done there, the responsibility that was taken in order to preserve a piece of our history. I think 3/4, not even, probably beyond half of the time that I spent in that meeting, I was convinced I was on your side. You did the right thing. And you have done the right thing in a historical sense in the past in my dealings with you. And I just wanted to give you a word of praise. Thank you so very much.
We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Fernandez. Okay, I am going to do, I go first? Where am I? I have a little report that late February, Mr. De Leon and I and Dr. Rodriguez went to Lakeway, traveled to Lakeway, Austin, Texas, for the community or the TACC Board Trustees Summit. During that conference, we presented on dual enrollment. And needless to say, every time we go out and we present, we realize we're really doing good things at TSC. Can you hear me? Yeah. We're really doing good things. In our session, we shared changes that we have made over the past 5 years, including changes in our organizational structure, course sequence, pathways, training, outreach, different instructional methods of delivery, and share administrative tasks with ISDs and charter schools. All of these changes were to ensure a greater access for high school students to not only earn a college credit, but to complete their academic core 42 hours or associate's degree before completing their high school. We had a very productive conference, and I want to thank Mr. De Leon because his experience at not only with his years at the college, but at the school district just put us over the top. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I'm fascinated of, the opportunity to attend with you, with Madam Chair, with Mr. Rodriguez, President, and I don't stop learning, and I love what we do as a team.
Thank you. When we go out and we mingle with other trustees and other presidents, I realize that we have an excellent board, that we work together, that we help each other out, and that we complement each other. Not to say that also our president is so well respected amongst his peers, and I really enjoy sitting back and watching the way he's treated and the way he moves around presidents. I appreciate that, and I want to thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
For making us proud, always.
Can't do it without the board support, so thank you.
Now, I'll let you do your report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, trustees. As always, great things are happening at Texas Southmost College. With Charter Days in February, there were several community events as a couple of conferences that I attended since we last met. On February 16th, I attended the 2023 State of the Brownsville Police Department event. Brownsville Police Chief Felix Sauceda, a TSC alumna, held the State of the Police Department address providing the community with information on the latest technologies the department uses to fight crime. I was happy to represent TSC at the event, which included local law enforcement, elected officials, and community stakeholders. On February 22nd, Trustee Sines was a presenter for Career Day at the Gonzalez Elementary, as you will see in this month's reel. Students in the 5th grade learned about opportunities in the community from many different presenters. Trustee Sines' presentation had historical significance because the school was named after her late grandfather, Mariano Gonzalez, who drove school buses for the Brownsville Independent School District for more than 40 years. Thank you, Trustee Sines, for sharing your story, attending the Career Day, representing Texas Southmost College, and inspiring these students to continue to further their education. Our Charter Days festivities started on February 18th with the attendance of Madam Chair, Vice Chair De Leon, and Secretary Aldrete at the Charter Days Baile del Sol. Thank you all for attending. During the same week, we stayed busy attending several other Charter Days events, including the 86th Annual Charter Days Fiesta Night at the Amigo Land Convention Center held on February 22nd. Thank you, Madam Chair, Secretary Aldrete, and immediate past Chair Herrera for representing TSC at this event. We also attended Noche Mexicana at our Jacob Brown Auditorium on February 23rd. And once again, thank you to Madam Chair and Secretary Aldrete for giving your time that evening to represent Texas Southmost College. And on February 24th, perhaps I'm being a little biased, but I would say we stole the show, or at least we were the best dressed out there. And we truly received positive feedback on the TSC charter wear that we wore on the Charter Days illuminated parade. Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair De Leon, Secretary Aldrete, immediate past Chair Herrera, Trustee Alejandro, and Trustee Sines for joining us on the float and really looking really good that night. We also participated in the Grand International Parade the following day on the 25th. And Madam Chair, Secretary Aldrete, and immediate past Chair, Trustee Alejandro, and Trustee Sines, thank you so much for weathering that hot day of the parade. We were also fortunate to be able to meet with Governor Abbott, who allotted time for a select group of community members before the parade. I do want to note that the TSC 21st Century Porter Conjunto Group were also in the parade, as they were invited to join Chief Patrol Agent Gloria Chavez on the Border Patrol float. We rounded out the Charter Days event on the 25th at the Costin Ball, in which TSC was a signature sponsor. This event was also held at the Jacob Brown Auditorium with Madam Chair, Secretary, and Aldrete in attendance representing TSC. I want to thank all the trustees for participating in these events. I know it takes a lot of time from your day, and I truly appreciate how well Texas Southmost College is represented in these long-standing community and cultural events. Since we last met, TSC hosted several events on campus over the past months. On March 1st, a representative from Texas A&M Kingsville visited with our leadership team. TMUC wants to expand our current partnership by sending a staff person more frequently to our campus, and the TMUC president, Dr. Vela, will be visiting our campus in early April. On March 1st, we also held our first multi-jurisdictional interagency full-scale exercise. It started with a press conference in which we shared with the media the purpose of the event. Madam Chair and I provided remarks along with our interagency partners. This event had been a year-long process of planning, meetings, and discussions to bring together an understanding of how each agency will represent or respond to Texas Southmost College in the event of a mass emergency situation. The process began with a leadership briefing, moving then to planning meetings, a tabletop exercise in July of last year, and finally culminating on March 1st with a full-scale active attack exercise. In the event, we assess our communication, coordination, and incident command system. And even though everyone has their own response plan, the event allowed us to assess our interagency response. I want to especially thank the entire TSC safety and risk management team for their work in putting this together. I also want to thank Madam Chair and Trustee Sines for sitting with us during the TSC Incident Command Team briefing. On March 2nd, it was Read Across America, so I put on my Dr. Seuss costume and read to the children at our child care center along with Dr. Figueroa. I always enjoy spending time with our youngest scorpions, and I know the little scorpions appreciate me wearing my costume. On March 8th, representative from Concordia University visited with me before they set up tables at Oliveira Student Service Center to talk to students interested in transferring to Concordia University. We're in the process of developing articulation agreements with this institution of higher education and plan to bring that agreement to the board soon. Speaking of students, our most recent student service events were as follows. On February 23rd, Student Life held Charro Fest at the North-South Courtyard. It was a very festive event with folklorico dancers, mariachis, and with our own Abigail Gonzalez singing the final song as well as promoting the new mariachi program and the performance of our little scorpions.
Welcome. Welcome. We're so happy to have you.
There were lots of games and good food sold at the student club, not only students, but faculty, staff, and the public, and the soccer team recruits. Part of the recruitment process that we're doing is to showcase the college experience, which Charro Fest certainly delivered. Joining us for the event were Madam Chair and Trustee Sines. Thank you both for joining us at the courtyard, also meeting with the soccer recruits. Now, you have probably seen the media coverage of several signings of ceremonies at local high school students for the TSC soccer team. And know that we will continue with the signing of more ceremonies throughout the semester. The Career Service Office held a law enforcement forum on March 7th. Several law enforcement organizations set up tables on the second floor of Oliveira Student Service Center to share information on careers and available jobs openings. I want to thank Carol Sandoval for organizing this event. And Student Life held the 2023 Spring Break Safety Conference on March 9th to give students tips on staying safe and making good decisions while they are on spring break. This is an annual recurring event, and I want to thank Virginia Sandoval for her team for organizing this conference. The TSC Community Garden had its first harvest on February 27th. You may remember we had the grand opening and ribbon cutting in the Community Garden Food Pantry in December, right before our break. This is a joint project between Instruction, Student Services, and Grants Department. I want to thank our community partner, Brownsville Wellness Coalition, for continuing to support our garden. From March 1st through March 8th, several in-person and virtual events were held to promote women in STEM. On March 1st, a STEM Week kickoff festival was held at the North-South Courtyard with many community partners demonstrating various STEM activities, as well as giving students an opportunity to try their hand at some of the experiments as well as the activities. On March 6th and 8th, 2 virtual panels were held called Agents of STEM. The week ended on March 8th with an in-person Agents of STEM panel held at the SETB Lecture Hall and included several of our faculty. I want to thank Dr. Murad Abu Salim for organizing the event and for securing a sponsorship from the Brownsville Community Incentive Corporation, which were able to purchase T-shirts for all the attendees. Now, the Texas Board of Nursing conducted a survey site visit between November 2nd and 4th of 2022. The Board of Nursing submitted a list of recommendations to a TSC vocational nursing program based on the visit and the Board of Nursing's recommendations. The Board of Nursing staff reviewed the documents that we submitted and considered our vocational nursing program at Texas Southmost College in full compliance with Rule 214.
Thank you, God.
I do want to acknowledge Dr. McCormick, Dr. Pierce, and Ms. Soto, Program Director, for their work to ensure we remain in compliance with these very important standards. Thank you. Last year, the board approved the purchase of orbital tube welding equipment through a Skills Development Fund grant that we were in the process of submitting on behalf of our industry partner. During the development of that grant, the industry partner requested that the grant be submitted through Workforce Solutions Cameron. As a result, we did not purchase the equipment. Workforce Solutions Cameron did, with the feedback from our own WTC staff. So we actually told them the specs and what to order. The orbital tube welding equipment is currently, will be installed next week. And we're very excited to be able to start the training soon. Our industry partner, SpaceX, will determine the training start dates. Upon the conclusion of the grant, Workforce Solutions has indicated they will transfer the ownership of the equipment to Texas Southmost College. I'm also proud to announce that Dr. Figueroa, Mr. Hernandez, and I have been invited to serve on off-site and on-site evaluation committees for colleges that are going through a SAC COC review. While it is very time-consuming, it is important work as it helps us observe how other colleges operate as well as prepare our own institution for upcoming SAC COC reviews. I want to thank Dr. Figueroa and Mr. Hernandez for accepting the assignments from SAC COC. This is voluntary work. Few are invited to serve as reviewers, and it does require a time commitment to complete the assignments for this review. So once again, thank you. On February 23rd, we held the Charter Days employee gathering and provided employees breakfast and a special gift. Employees could choose between a bandana or a rebozo. Employees were dressed in festive wear and enjoyed taking group photos. And next, I would like to congratulate the purchasing department for once again earning for the second consecutive year the Texas Association of School Business Officials Taskful Award of Merit for Purchasing Operations. They earned this award for being committed to following professional standards in the acquisition of goods and services in accordance with state of Texas laws. Out of the 1,000 school systems in the state, only 71 recipients met the award criteria for 2023. Texas Southmost College remains the only community college to earn the award.
Stand up.
So thank you, Patricia Saldivar and all her staff for their commitment and dedication to continue to achieve these high standards. Now it's time for this monthly's highlight reel. Can you please roll the video?
I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to be able to play at the college level. And I'm also very grateful that my family and everybody else has supported me through this road.
We want to thank you all for coming out here to celebrate something extremely special to us. Both of these athletes have been with us since 6th grade.
No, me siento muy orgulloso porque pues es un logro que tenía desde chiquito y para mi mamá es algo que es lo que siempre quería ver en mí y que lograra estar en el colegio y más que nada jugar fútbol ahí.
We just signed 2 talented players that we're going to help us achieve our goals during the season and know they will excel on the field and off the field as well.
Been fortunate to be in so many great initiatives, and this is at the top of the list. Taking care of our students and our staff and their security is of utmost important to us.
In this event, we plan to assess our communication, coordination, and incident command system. And although every agency represented here has their own response plan, we will assess our interagency response.
While our national and state political leaders continue to get mired in discussions, TSC has moved beyond that, and TSC has acted by what you see here today. Whether they wear the green, the blue, the gray, the red tie, our objective is the same, to provide a safe community for our children.
This is one of those things that you need to experience before reality hits. And it's a true testament to the willingness to do these types of things, see what mistakes we're going to make in a practice setting so that we can try to be as good and as accurate as we can, God forbid if it ever happens in real life.
But in this type of training, it's great to have it because it unifies us to act as one and one sole individual for one purpose, safety.
Hopefully this can be the template for other colleges and universities around the nation so that they can prepare with all their partners.
pasó, mi chula? ¡Hey! La fiesta va a comenzar, adornen esos portones. La fiesta va a comenzar, adornen esos portones. Ya va llegando el mariachi cantando sones con sus guitarras y guitarrones, pa' que se alegren y que retocen los corazones. Ya va llegando el mariachi cantando sones con sus guitarras y guitarrones, pa' que se alegren y que retocen los corazones. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la, agarre su falda pa' que se baile este lindo son. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la, saque polvadera pa' que retoce mi corazón. fiesta sigue bonita, toda llena de alegría. La fiesta sigue bonita, toda llena de alegría. Sigue tocando el mariachi con sus violines, con sus trompetas y la vihuela, pa' que se alegre y se contente mi linda nena. Sigue tocando el mariachi con sus violines, con sus trompetas y la vihuela, pa' que se alegre y se contente mi linda nena. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la, agarre su falda pa' que se baile ese lindo son. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la, saque polvadera pa' que retose mi corazón. Es la fiesta del mariachi, la que alegra el corazón.
Qué bonito. I want to thank the Board of Trustees for their continued commitment and support of our college and the communities that we serve, and to all our employees for their continued hard work and service to our students. And as always, let's stay Scorpion strong. This concludes my report.
Thank you. And I want to welcome Abigail Gonzalez, and we're so looking forward to having our own mariachis with our own suits and our own music and our own campus. So welcome, Abby. I know that the rest of the board is excited about having you come over. I also see in the back two guys that I see working all the time. The Medina brothers are called. Welcome. I'm glad to see you here, guys. Thank you for being here. I guess we shall continue. Number 5?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Consideration and possible action on the minutes of the following meetings. Regular meeting, February 16, 2023.
I so moved.
I second.
A motion by Mr. Herrera, second by Ms. Andrete. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Consideration and possible action on a resolution of support for the Texas Commission on Community Colleges, Community College Finance recommendations. Since January 1st, right? I have been sharing information with other community college legislative funding requests at the state and federal levels. Some of you have also been with me as we engaged in dialogue with state legislatures during the RGB Partnership Legislators Tours, Vice Chair Mr. De Leon, Secretary Aldrete, and Trustee Alejandro, or at the federal level during the ACCT National Legislative Summit. Vice Chair De Leon and Trustee Alejandro came with me, in which I also presented information on the Pell Grant for short-term programs to Senator Cornyn and Senator Cruz. Most recently, I was contacted by another board chair in Texas about this resolution. The resolution supports the Texas Commission of Community College Finance funding recommendation that I am recommending. And I would like for Mr. Frank Perez to read the resolution into record.
Yes. The State of Texas, County of Cameron, Texas Southwest College District Resolution. Whereas the State of Texas established the Texas Commission on Community College Finance to evaluate community college funding and improve student outcomes through alignment with state post-secondary goals. Whereas the Texas Commission on Community College Finance developed their recommendations with input from various stakeholders, including business leaders, lawmakers, college officials, students, and trustees. Whereas the recommendations are a historic opportunity to obtain funding to ensure post-secondary student success. Whereas the recommendations include performance-based funding based on measurable outcomes. Whereas the recommendations include much-needed support for workforce development to produce credentials of value in high-demand fields. Whereas the recommendations include support for students enrolling in dual credit programs. Whereas the recommendations would provide support to economically and educationally disadvantaged students as well as adult learners. Therefore, be it resolved, Board of Trustees of Texas Southmost College District officially declares its support for the recommendations issued to the 88th Texas Legislature by the Texas Commission on Community College Finance. Be it further resolved that this resolution be included in the permanent minutes of this board, adopted this 23rd day of March 2023 by the Board of Trustees of Texas Southmost College District, signature by Adela G. Garza, Chair, Board of Trustees, signature by Alejandra Aldrete, Secretary, Board of Trustees.
So move.
I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution of support for the Texas Commission on Community College Finance recommendations. Motion by Mr. Herrera,
Second.
second by Mr. De Leon. Any discussion? I think this is an exciting year for community colleges, and I think I'm glad to have been a part of it. I know Mr. De Leon and I have been talking about this, and I think all the stars are aligned for not only TSC, but all the community colleges. I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Thank you. Finance.
The Finance Committee met on Monday, March 6, 2023. Present were Secretary Aldrete, President Rodriguez, myself, and members of the Administration College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following items. Monthly financial statements report for the month ended in January 31st, 2023. I'll call on Dr. Figueroa.
Thank you, Mr. Herrera. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez. With your permission, I'll have Mr. Carlos Pesero present the monthly financial statements.
Thank you, Mr. Pesero.
Thank you, Dr. Figueroa. Chairman, Madam Chair, members of the board.
We don't mean to pick on you, Mr. Pesero. We're just happy to have you.
And lucky.
Yes, and lucky. That's right.
Get it straight.
For you, we have the monthly financial statement report for the month ended January 31st. The report is in a similar format as we have presented before, where we present budget to actual information for 3 fund types. I'll begin with the first of those fund types here, the Education and General Fund, and we can see that in the header here. And along the left side column, we have descriptions of the activity that occurs. I'll concentrate my presentation on this January column that you see here, and I'll mostly highlight the subtotals that we have. So I'll begin with the subtotal that's here at the bottom of the slide that represents total revenue for the month of January in the general fund. That's 2.8 million. We move on to the expenditure category in general fund. We have 2 subtotals on this slide, 1.2 million and 361,000. That's for salaries and wages and benefits respectively. On this slide, we have the M&O category, which begins on this slide, continues through the next, and then concludes here. We have a subtotal for that category of 1.6 million. And this slide, we are still in the Educational and General Fund. We have 2 subtotals, one for travel of 48,000, and then we have 127,000 as a subtotal for General Institutional. This is the final slide of expenditures for the General Fund, and I'd like to highlight that total expenditures for the month of January, 3.9 million. That is for General Fund, revenue, and expenditures. So the second of the 3 funds that we have is the Auxiliary Fund. We can see titled here. And we have a subtotal on this slide for revenue of 641,000. And on this slide is where the expenditures category begin, and we have 2 subtotals, 114 and 27,000 for salaries and wages and benefits respectively. On this slide, we have the M&O category, which goes on through 2 slides, this one, and concludes on this next slide. We have the subtotal here, 119,000 for M&O. Last slide for the Auxiliary Fund for expenditures, we have a subtotal of 261,000 for the month of January. So that's revenue and expenditures for the Auxiliary Fund. The last fund I'll cover, the General Obligation and Revenue Bond Fund. We have a subtotal for revenue of $318,000. And on the following slide, we have the expenditures, where we have mainly fiscal agent fees, which subtotal here to $8,000. So that's revenue and expenditures for all three fund types. The remaining slides are similar as well to what we have presented before. We have detail for the health insurance benefits type expenditures with two subtotals, $831,000 and $55,000 respectively for the general fund and the auxiliary fund. On this slide, we have our fund balance estimate at January 31st. This number that we see here at the top is the unrestricted fund balance number that agrees to our audited financial statements. And then this number down here at the bottom is our estimate of what that would look like at January 31st. The remaining slides are our debt service payment tables. And what it does is it categorizes the future 5-year payments and then categorizes each of the next 5 years worth of payments in lump sums. So those tables are unchanged since the last time that we presented this report. And with that, Madam Chair, I'll conclude my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Bracero. Item 7B, Fund Balance Operations Report. I'll call on Dr. Figueroa.
Thank you, Mr. Herrera. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez. Before you have the fund operation balance, again, this balance ties back to what Mr. Bracero just mentioned, which is the year end as of 8/31/22, with the unrestricted net position of $30,998,800. If we go by what the expenses were in the prior fiscal year, we have about 175 days of operations as of 8/31/22.
Thank you, Dr. Figueroa. Next item is 7C, Institutional Cares Expenditure Report. Dr. Figueroa.
Yes, sir. This is the CARES expenditure report. Every month, we've been reporting the new expenditures. This month, we are here to report $516,904. The detail of those expenditures is on your report. It's got the name of the vendors, the amount, and detail of what was purchased with those funds.
Thank you so very much. Item 7D, Grants Report. Call on Dr.
Yes, with your permission, Ms. Dr.
Fuentes.
Fuentes will be presenting.
Will you shut off the mic, please?
Good evening. I am here to present grants received in February. So we have 2 grants. We have an additional funds coming from our Perkins Basic Grant in the amount a little less than $70,000. And in addition to that, we have a nursing shortage reduction program grant for our nurse faculty for an amount of $38,000 that will be used towards stipend for nursing faculty. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is our report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Herrera. Mr. De Leon, would you help us with academic committee?
Yes. The Academic Committee met on Monday, March 6, 2023. Present were Trustee Science, President Rodriguez, Trustee Zavaleta via Zoom, members of the TSC administration, and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following item. 8A, consideration and possible action to approve an affiliation agreement with Harlingen Medical Center for the 7 health profession programs. I will call on Dr. McCormick, Interim Vice President of Instruction, and Dr. Pierce, Dean of Health Professions, to present this item.
Thank you, Mr. De La Garza, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Rodriguez. This item I am bringing for your consideration and possible approval is an affiliation agreement with Harlingen Medical Center. It will involve our 7 health profession programs, including diagnostic medical sonography, radiological technology, respiratory care, emergency medical sciences, our associate degree in nursing, vocational nursing, and medical laboratory technology. The hospital and TSC will benefit by making field experiences available to our students at Harlingen Medical Center and their facilities. The agreement will remain in effect until terminated by either party. The agreement has been reviewed and approved by TSC Legal Counsel and Board of Trustees Legal Counsel.
I move to approve the affiliation agreement with Harlingen Medical Center for the 7 health professional programs and authorize President Rodriguez to sign the agreement.
I second the motion.
A motion by Mr. De Leon, second by Mr. Herrera. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Facilities Committee.
The Facilities Committee met on Monday, March
Thank you, Dr.
6th.
McCormick.
The Facilities Committee met on Monday, March 6, 2023. Present were Trustee Zabaleta via Zoom, President Rodriguez, myself, and members of the TSC Admin and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following items. 9A, consideration and possible action on renewal of windstorm and hail insurance for fiscal year 22-23. I call on Dr. Figueroa.
Thank you, Ms. Aldrete. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez. As you might recall, last month I did an update on the insurance because we did not have a quote for the insurance that expires at the end of this month. Even the day that we had the committee, we still had not received any documentation. That's when you received your packages, you did not have that. We barely received that yesterday afternoon. We were able to incorporate that into the packet, and that's why we sent out a late submission. So I just wanted to update you that when we met in the committee, we were not able to discuss any of this with the committee members, other than letting them know we were still waiting on the quote. As you might recall, we did this RFP last year, RFP 2219, and the board awarded our current insurance, all windstorm hail insurance, all inclusive, to Shepherd Walton King. Last year, different from years past, there were several options to insure the property that the college has. The board opted to go with the recommendation number 3, which was to insure 51% of our total assets at $791,659 with a 3% deductible. This year, things were a little different. It was quite difficult to get just quotes and even to get to that amount that we had last year. What we received from ANRISC, from Shepherd Walton King, and they had to pull different companies to be able to give us this type of insurance coverage. The insurance coverage is right now, the max that we can get is $50 million, which is 17% of our assets. There is $25 million as the primary limit, and the cost of that is about $1.1 million. I'll give you the exact money amount in a little bit. And then their excess limit, another $25 million. Oh, it's right here. 1.1 is the cost of the primary limit, 1104478. That is the cost of the first $25 million in insurance. The second $25 million, it's another $458,000. So to insure the total assets of the college at 17% is $1.5 million. So from what we had last year of 791 at 51%. Representatives from Shepherd Walton King are present in case we have any specific questions, but at this point, the deductible has also increased at 5% rather than 3%. That is what we will be able to insure the college assets for. Once the board approves the amount, we will add that to our budget for next year, and we will pay the percentage that is coverage from April 1st through August 31st from this year budget. It's prorated by years when we record it in our books. So this is the proposal that we have at this point for the college. As of right now, it's option A, to approve the renewal of the windstorm insurance with Shepherd Walton King for $1.4 million, and that will cover us $25 million. If we want to go with the 50, it will be option B, which is $1.5 million.
1.1, not 1.4, correct?
1.1, yes. 1.1 will be for the first $25 million, 1.5 will be for the $50 million. I want to remind the board that when after separation, there was an insurance amount of money that is part of our reserves. It's specifically restricted for insurance purposes, and it's at $1.2 million. So in the event that something happens, we have funds either to pay that deductible or to cover anything that the insurance will not cover. The coverage is all-inclusive. What that means is that we're not insuring, we're saying 17% is only Gorgas and Tandy and Oliveira, and the rest of the buildings are not covered. It's all-inclusive. So if the buildings that have the damage, that's what it will cover, right, out of the total area. So in the event that there's a catastrophe and we lose everything, at the $50 million, we will only be able to insure 17%. The option also going forward after this year is maybe start also adding some additional funds into our restricted insurance fund, and eventually looking into other options such as self-insured or.
What is the recommendation?
So for right now, we are posing the two recommendations to the board.
What is your recommendation?
I will go with option A and then set an amount added to the
Restricted fund.
to the reserve. But we can go with B and insure the college at 17% if that's what the board feels more.
But if you go with option B, if I'm understanding it, you're doubling the price and reducing 34% of the coverage.
Yes, sir.
So we're paying double and have 34% less coverage for the
Yes, sir.
option B,
And for option A too.
And an increase in the deductible.
an increase in deductible.
If I may, I would like to propose that we go, and we can't push and kick this can down the road, right?
The insurance will expire at the end of the month, sir.
I propose, I'll make a motion to,
Wait. That's Ms. Aldereta's committee.
I apologize.
Thank you, sir.
I kept thinking it's.
We can't just be without insurance.
I understand.
So the end of the month is next week.
No. That's not where I was going.
Oh.
So whatever you want to propose, and then we'll discuss.
What is your motion?
Well, my thing is like, this is just brought up for us. This was not at committee meeting. This is new information for me too.
She just told you, she just got it.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying that he's saying like, what is your opinion? I mean, I'm in the same place as you guys. It's just double the amount. Are we going to get another insurance from somewhere else?
We
No.
were not.
So then what were you proposing, sir?
Option A.
Oh, option A. Okay.
I mean,
And then put
Totally.
the additional monies in the restricted fund,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, so option A, to approve renewal of windstorm and hail insurance primary layer coverage with Shepherd Walton King Insurance Group, A Hub International Company, in the amount of $1,104,478, and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the purchase order contract as presented.
and I second that motion.
Wait 1 second. I have a motion by Ms. Aldrete. I have a second by Mr. Herrera. Discussion, sir.
Now I want to discuss. I want to propose that we create a committee to find out exactly what needs to be covered, because we're covering everything. And some things, maybe we can find that we could forego some insurance on some buildings and see if we can tackle this
It's not my-
exorbitant amount of money that we pay for insurance. We have 1 year, or 9 months, 8 months, whatever it is, to figure out what we really want to insure, because we're insuring everything. And I think if we lose a building or half a building or whatever, we have monies to, in our budget to make reparations and fix it. So it's just an idea, and I propose that we start looking into what we really, really want to insure.
Thank you, Mr. Herrera. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
9B, facilities update, Dr. Figueroa.
Thank you, Ms. Aldrete. Before you, Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, you have our facility projects update. We have 5 items this month, and we'll start with the courtroom criminal justice project status. We met with the subcommittee for the courtroom, and then with the committee. We gave the progress. The electrical continues to go. Mock-up shelves are in progress. We made some modifications to allow for that, and the plumbing work is also continue, besides what we've reported before, which it's already in place. This is the depiction of where the new shelves will be. They will be holding the books from the lending library, from the law library that we will be having on campus. So they were not originally considered into the drawing, and Dr. Usalim gave us a couple of ideas where to put them. So this is what the committee ended up reaching out to, doing that. And this is a picture of the electrical work. As you might recall, the board approved the additional money to add that. So we'll be adding some conduit so we can have some electrical inside the courtroom. And then in the future, if we want to upgrade, we already have conduit to put more cables if we need to for additional stuff. Oliveda restroom renovation. In this project, the electrical is almost complete, it's about 90%, and the plumbing at 70%. We have, it says by the end of March, it might not be ready by the end of March. We could getting delays within the electrical, specific on some of the items, but progress is being done. As you can see, some of the walls are already coming up, so the framing work is also almost complete. And this is where the plumbing will be going. Audiovisual upgrades for the Jacob Brown Auditorium. This project is also continued. We've received the majority of the equipment and the materials, as well as the installation is in progress. There is a delay in some pieces of equipment, not everything, that will be arriving here, we're hoping by the end of May. The project will be ready or operational by graduation, even if we have to put some items that the vendor will lend us in the meantime when we get ours, and then change them back. So we have a backup plan before graduation. And these are just how some of the stuff, this is what arrived, all the materials, so they're already in the process of installing all that material. Also, as part of the renovation, one of the things we came across was that mural that it was spoken at the beginning of the board meeting. And when we started evaluating this mural, one thing was evident was that there was quite a bit of damage. And these are just some of the pictures where you can see the discoloration and the cracking and the peeling of the painting, as well as different tears throughout the mural. So when we did an analysis on what we could do to protect this mural, what came to light is the way it was originally installed. As you can see in that picture, the canvas was glued to plywood and to some Hardybecker and put it into as part of the wall. So despite the fact that it was severely damaged, it was impossible to remove it without damaging even more, since it's already gone over a lot of damage throughout the years. One of the things they did when they originally installed it is they put lighting around it. And back then there was no LED lighting, so it was burning literally the mural. So that's why a lot of this damage was there. So what we did was trying to protect as much as we could of that mural. A picture was taken before we began any of this renovation to preserve what was there behind. Then there were studs built in front of it, as well as insulation, and then it was sheetrock. So as you can see, the mural is still behind there. We did put some insulation to try to protect as much as possible. So if in the future there is a way to rescue it, because maybe there is new technology that can allow for that restoration to happen, the mural will still be there. But from that point to now, we do have a digital copy of it that can be displayed in the screen that will go in that area. Next, we have that Dr. Rodriguez mentioned during his report that on March 1st, we had that multi-agency full-scale active attack exercise. This was the first of its kind. It was a great way of getting together different law enforcement, and this was just the culmination of over a year of planning. All these agencies have been collaborating at different levels to make this thing happen. What was known is that safety and security at schools, it's something that we need to take very seriously, and we cannot afford that if, God forbid, something happens, we have multi-jurisdictional not talking to each other and making more of a problem than solving any. That's why proactively, under the direction of the board, after you approved our crazy model, that it's a combination between law enforcement and security guards for our college, that this was one of those ideas that flourished after that. And I want to thank the board for being so supportive of us in allowing us to have this type of collaborations and set the tone for other institutions on how we can make something like this happen. I mean, this is no easy feat. You see the number of color uniforms that are there, and we managed to have them here. There was hot wash exercises after the training. Before, we also tested how we will react if something like that happened. Madam Chair, and Ms. Science were able to join us and be able to see how will we act and react. So we had many lessons learned. We're still going through all that notes to be able to come out and to see what we did great and what we can use some improvement on. And this is a picture that shows all the different vehicles that were here that day.
It was very impressive, to say the least. You know, I try to go park where we usually park in the front, and they said, "No, ma'am, you can't." I'm a trustee. Yes, ma'am. Go back. Thank you. But it was very impressive to see everybody working together and being on cue. Very, very impressive. But it takes time to get to that point. So this has taken time for them. It's like a marriage, right? That one would finish the sentence of the other police. It was very impressive. Very good work.
The last item is just informational purposes. We have an upcoming auction. We haven't set the date yet, but I just wanted to inform the board that there's been items that have deemed no longer usable for the college, so that's our excess property, and we'll be having an auction. So these are pictures of the lots that we currently have stored in the iTech building for sale. As soon as after this meeting next week, we'll start talking to our auctioneer to get some dates in April.
Please keep the board informed
Yes,
of
sir.
the dates, and please publish it in the Brownsville Herald, and then we're good.
Yes, sir. Will do.
Okay, this item is for information only. No action is required. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Aldrete. Item number 10, thank you, Dr. Figueroa. Item number 10, Student Services, Ms. Alejandro.
The Student Services Committee met on Monday, March 6, 2023. Present were Trustee Science, President Rodriguez, myself, members of the TSC Administration, and Board Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following item: the athletics NJCAA update. Dr. Ponce, would you present the item?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Rodriguez. I'm going to give an update on where we're at with our athletic program right now. And the first thing I want to do is I want to introduce our coach, We did hire our coach, Mario Zamora, who will be leading our men's and women's team.
Welcome.
I like the tie.
He started in February and he's been working very hard since his first day. I'm very happy to announce that we have our schedule. We are still pending some times because there's some of the schools in our conference that have lost their coaches. So we're working with those institutions to finalize the actual times. But as you see on the screen, this is the women's schedule. Now, the way it's set up in a North and a South division. We're in the South division. For our women's South division, there's 4 teams in the division. And we will play a total of 6 home games, and for the women, 5 away games. That's because there's, and obviously the men have, on the next slide I'll show you the men's schedule. There's a discrepancy of 1 game because there's an additional team in the men's division and compared to the women's division. So we're very excited. As you see, our first game will be September 1st. It will be a Friday in the evening, and it will be against Trinity Valley Community College. That'll be our first official game back into athletics. The second game will be the following day on a Saturday, and that will be against Tyler Junior College. Here we have the men's schedule, and like I said, they actually have 5 in the South Division, and we will play 6 home games and 6 away games. For many of the games, the men and the women travel together. There's a few, because of the discrepancies of men's and women's teams, that they do not. But the schedule, again, hopefully by the end of April, we'll finalize the times, and we're excited to kick off the athletic season. Starting August 1st is when actually we first start our first day of practice. Just an update, these numbers have changed since the initial submission of this report of where we're at with our recruitment efforts. For the women's team, we currently have 7 women that are currently enrolled at the institution right now that we hope will be playing for us in the fall. We have 7 that we've signed. As Dr. Rodriguez mentioned earlier, you've seen some of the ceremonies. There's some ceremonies that are going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. The teams are in the playoffs right now, so they want to wait until they're out of the playoffs before they do the actual signing ceremonies. There's 4 students that we have pending. We're just trying to seal the deal so they can sign with us. We're scouting 22 additional players, trying to see if they could fit our roster. So total right now with recruits, those signed, those pending, and those that we're scouting, we're at about 40 students. We also have tryouts on April 22nd. We'll have both men's and women's. We'll hope to have take a look at more of the talent that's out there, and at that point we can start trimming our roster down to about 35. For the men's, we have 8 students that are currently enrolled. There's 6 that are actually from the club soccer team, 2 that transferred in this semester from other colleges. We have 4 that we've signed. We have 9 that are pending. The same thing, they want to wait till the season's over before they make a decision, their families and so forth. And there's 25 that we're scouting. So in total, what we have currently on campus, those that we have signed, those that we have pending, and those that we're scouting, we have 46 in total. And again, with the tryouts, we hope to also identify more talent in the area. And I do want to reiterate that, of course, as we've been discussing the whole time, which I think the Valley is starting to take notice, that we are recruiting solely here from the Rio Grande Valley. Next Thursday from 11 to 1, we're going to have a Scorpion pep rally, and we're going to celebrate the students that are here and celebrate the new program that's, everybody's really excited about. Our current players are really excited about it, and just really a celebration for the institution. We want to thank the board for supporting the program. It's definitely created a lot of buzz, and it's kind of hard to contain the excitement sometimes when we're going to the high schools and out of the community. They're definitely taking notice. We continue to recruit. After this, we're actually going to go recruit a game at Lopez High School. They're playing Valley View. Playoffs have started. And tomorrow we have another game we're going to go to as well. And as the playoffs go, we're going to continue to recruit. So, open for any questions?
How do we transport our students to and from games?
Charter bus.
Charter bus.
Yeah, we're actually finalizing the quotes that we need to determine which is going to be awarded the actual contract for the charter bus.
Wouldn't it be easier
To buy
and
Do you want to buy one?
buy a bus?
Sure. And the liability.
I will say this, that there are some institutions that do have a bus. From what I've spoken to the other athletic directors, they say it's a big headache with maintenance, and that it's yeah. And if your bus breaks down, then you have to go send somebody to pick up the team, and then you have to rent a bus because if it breaks down.
You just answered the question.
Okay.
Thank you. Is that all?
Further questions? Thank you.
No? Okay.
Yeah, this
Thank you, Mr.
item-
Ponce.
This item is for information only, no action is required. Concludes my report.
Thank you. The board will not convene in executive session as provided by Government Code, Chapter 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074. We're now in executive session. We're back from executive session. Turn me on, please.
I move to approve the annual evaluation of Dr. Jesus Roberto Rodriguez in the terms of the employment agreement as discussed.
Can you speak into the mic, please? We didn't hear anything.
Oh, saints, my baby left. I move to approve the annual evaluation of Dr. Jesus Roberto Rodriguez and the terms of the employment agreement as discussed in executive session.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Herrera, second by Mr. De Leon. We'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Announcement of next meeting dates, regular board meeting, April the 20th, 5:30, and Thursday, May the 18th at 5:30. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. De Leon, second by Ms. Alejandro. All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.